Okay, it's a couple minutes after 3, so we will call the order. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll have to have roll call, please.
Commissioner Adair?
Here.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Parks?
Present.
Commissioner Rowe?
Here.
Commissioner Ovechowski? Commissioner Turnbull?
Present.
Commissioner Cheney? Present.
Okay, we'd like to have item 2, approval of the agenda. Roll call, please.
You're gonna make a motion? I'll make a
Oh,
motion.
sorry.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda for Thursday, December 19th, 2019, two-hour meeting.
Second. Approved and seconded. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Adair?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Parks?
Yes.
Commissioner Rowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Ovechowski? Yes. Commissioner Turnbull?
Yes.
Commissioner Cheney? Yes.
Item 3, public comments on 9 non-agenda items only. We have, yes, can you go to the podium with the name and address, please?
Hello, everyone. I'm Diane Marlin, Mayor of Urbana, 400 South Vine Street, Urbana. I just, since we're wrapping up the year, I just thought I'd stop by. I'd like to just have a few comments. One is I wanted to congratulate you all on the recent Youth Build grant that you received. I think this is just a tremendous resource coming into the community, and it has the potential of offering really life-changing experiences for the kids, for the young people in our community, and in terms of education, the skills they can achieve, and really the opportunity for good paying jobs in the future. So again, thank you for your efforts in securing that grant. I was at an event earlier this week and had a conversation with Matt Kelly, who's the president of the AFL-CIO in Champaign County, and he is very, very interested in working with you all on this grant. They've had not so much success in their efforts toward diversifying the trades in Champaign County. They are very cognizant of the fact that they need to attract younger people to the trades. And so working with you on this particular grant, I think, would be just a way for everyone to achieve their goals. So please reach out to Matt. He is ready and willing to bring whatever resources, skills, processes they already have in place. And there's a lot they could bring to this opportunity. So I urge you to do whatever you can to work with the AFL-CIO. He's raring to go. Secondly, I wanted to express on behalf of the City of Urbana our appreciation for progress on the Pinewood Place on Colorado Avenue. I think we're have a schedule for the zoning board, or we're getting close. So that's going to serve some very vulnerable populations in Urbana, seniors and persons with disabilities. And I appreciate this project moving forward. And you look back on this year, and I look on the city, and I look at Housing Authority, and we all have a lot of accomplishments and initiatives that we can be very proud of. And I know that we all share a commitment to affordable housing, preventing homelessness, and removing barriers to housing. And I also want to reiterate, I think, our shared value and commitment to transparency and the thoughtful public deliberation of the important issues before us. And sometimes that deliberation involves debate, and sometimes that debate can be difficult, but we all learn by listening and trying to understand different perspectives and trying to understand where other people are coming from. And while we may not agree in the end, I think it's healthy and it's good, and it's how we grow in this community. So we're pleased that we are broadcasting and recording these meetings. I've had a number of people tell me over the past few months how much they appreciate having these meetings recorded by UPTV. They can't make it out here. You know, this is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so a lot of people who are working or have kids coming home from school or whatever can't make it to these meetings, but they do watch them later, especially the recordings. And so we are really pleased to have this intergovernmental agreement with the Housing Authority to broadcast these meetings. And I can tell you that the residents in Urbana appreciate that accessibility, and that contributes to the open and thoughtful public deliberation of issues. And the other thing it has done, I think, has helped people understand the breadth of the services that the Housing Authority provides, the scope of what you do, and most importantly, it puts a human face, puts a face on the people that you serve. A lot of in the past, anything you'd hear about the Housing Authority was in terms of numbers of vouchers, but you never heard about the number of people, or the people that were served, or the many different I don't say types of people, but the many different people that were served and the needs that they had. And so these bringing everything, more out and more public, and sharing information about what you do really has helped put a human face on everything that you do. And in the end, that's what we're all about, is serving the people of our community in the capacity that we have. So I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for your commitment to improving transparency, which has improved over the year. And again, reach out to the trades, reach out to the AFL-CIO, and get them involved. I think they can help this youth build in a tremendous way. And again, let us know at the City of Urbana how we can support this effort as well. I think it will be extremely valuable for the youth of our community. So have a joyous holiday and a peaceful and prosperous new year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Marlin, and we appreciate those kind words, and also the board appreciates all of your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just wanted to share a positive news story. I feel like I should do karaoke style here for a second. So thank you, Diane, for speaking, and I just want to put a face on some of the work that the Housing Authority does. We just received a second round of mainstream vouchers. We received a first round last year, and there's a participant working in our office who shared her story at the event we just had in downtown Champaign last week. And I just want to relay in a few sentences her story. She took care of her mother for 10 years, and when her mother passed away, they were both on Social Security disability. When her mother passed away, she was not able to stay in her house because it was a 2-bedroom house and she couldn't afford it on the 771 that people receive from disability. In fact, there's no place in town a person can live unless they're doubled or tripled up at that rate. And so she found herself essentially sleeping. Last year, she spent 2 nights in her storage unit. She is a profoundly disabled person who has a hard time walking and moving. And she was just and the reason that happened is because she stayed in a hotel. This is what she related. And when the holidays come, the prices of the hotels spike. So she couldn't afford to stay for the $300 a night that it costs to stay at a motel when you're here on Mom's Day weekend or Thanksgiving or Christmas. So she applied for a voucher here through the mainstream voucher. She was one of the folks selected through a lottery system. And she moved into her new place. It's downtown Urbana. It's 1 block from Lincoln Square. And she was shut in for 10 years, and now she goes out every single day. She is out in the community and able to integrate and be part of classes and workshops and go to the library. And she shared that story last weekend, and I guess I just wanted to share, I wanted us to, I know we're all perfectly aware of who we serve, but I guess I just wanted to put a face on that and say thank you. And I also just on a personal note, my father's death anniversary is today, and he housed homeless families our entire life. And so in many ways, my presence here on this board is really just continuing his legacy. And I just want to thank the board, the staff, and the public for continuing to work to house the most vulnerable participants in our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Chenoweth. Any other comments on non-agenda items? If not, we'll move to item 4, approval of the regular minutes from November 17, 2019.
I'll make a motion, but first I'd like to mention there's a correction that needs to be made on item number 4. There are actually 2 paragraphs similar to each other. The first one is incorrect and the second one is correct. Just thought I'd mention that before. Okay, so we'll strike that first paragraph. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting for November 7, 2019. Is that correct with that paragraph deleted?
Then properly moved and seconded with the corrections. Can we call for the vote?
Commissioner Adair?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Parks?
Yes.
Commissioner Rose? Commissioner Obachowski?
I wasn't present, so I will pass.
Commissioner Turnbull?
Yes.
Commissioner Chenoweth?
Yes.
Moving right along, item 5, new business. Under new business, we have a resolution 2019-17, approval of payment of Assisted Housing Risk Management Association annual insurance premium.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This resolution is to approve paying for the property, general liability, workers' comp premium for our coverage for both the Housing Authority and for the other entities listed there for 2020. So the total amount for all those entities is $160,966. It's roughly a 10% increase over last year, which is more based on the increased basis used. So for workers' comp, we have a larger staff anticipated in 2020 that increases that, as well as increase in some of the replacement value for property that also increases that basis.
Okay, if there's no questions on that, I'd like to get a motion.
I move that we approve resolution 2019-17.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Adair?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Parks?
Yes.
Commissioner Rose?
Yes.
Commissioner Obachowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Turnbull?
Yes.
Commissioner Chenoweth?
Moving right along, item B, resolution 219-18, approval to write off uncollectible tenant accounts receivable.
So this resolution is periodically we clean up our books by moving balances listed as current to our collectibles or collection balance. And so this is for anyone who is vacated longer than 45 days that has an outstanding balance. We just write off that balance, but we still pursue collection on those balances. Just a correction, so with the detail that was attached, the last item there was $1,415.97. That had actually previously been written off and just didn't get removed from the report. So the adjusted total is $5,643.43. Any questions?
Do we work with a collection agency to try to pursue collections? What does that look like?
So we work with Mid-State, so they're a local collection agency. So we do work with them. So previously, as the Housing Authority, we tried working with the state, but we had to change that once the properties that we're pursuing collections on were no longer owned by the housing authority, so we had to transfer that relationship to a different agency because we couldn't pursue it on non-housing authority owned property.
So,
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
so if they're taking collections, that means that it impacts their credit and the collection agency pursues them to try to receive payment. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
So everybody can clearly understand it, what Matt's talking about in terms of the write-offs. So what happens is that because we're graded and looked at in terms of our financial level of our housing authority, each year housing authorities across the nation write off uncollectible debts. But just because we write it off, we take it off our books, but we still pursue them in terms of the collection agencies. So we're just not throwing it away. We're just taking it off our books so it won't show so much negativity on our financial books. And that's the process that HUD allow us to do in order to pursue those collections.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
If there's no further questions, consider a motion for resolution 2019-18, approval of write-off to uncollectible tenant accounts receivable.
So moved. Second.
Been properly moved and second. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Adair,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Park,
Yes.
Commissioner Rose,
Yes.
Commissioner Wachowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Turnbull,
Yes.
Commissioner Chenoweth. Yes.
Moving right along, item 6, Chief Executive Officer's report.
Thank you, sir. Before I get started, I just want to say that, it's a pleasure when you have community members come to your meetings to kind of figure out what you're doing and just be present. We work hard as a team for this community, and it's good to see. I just want to say a special thanks to the mayor for coming out. We usually don't get the highest level officials in certain cities to come out, but I appreciate that effort. I know you had to take time from your daily schedule to do that, so I appreciate that and just want to say thank you. I care about everybody that's here too, but she's the highest position here, so. What I want to do is just to reiterate that we provide a lot of information to our board members related to what our activities are, and it's related to the CEO's report. I just want to add a couple items, if you guys wouldn't mind, and then open it up for any questions that you may have about some of the activities that we speak of. So first, I know there's been a lot of questions about a lot of things with the Housing Authority. I'm so proud of my team. We're doing an amazing job, our board members for the support and the community for the support. But we did create a system and a process to answer questions and concerns for all citizens, not just FOIAs, but any questions we had. It's called the Office of Constituent Services, and tomorrow we'll send a notice out to the community reminding them that if they have any question, how big, how small, it doesn't matter. If they have a question, we want to get it answered. It's a process for that, and we just want to make sure that all the community members are reminded of that. It's on our website, and we'll be sending a notice out, as I mentioned. Two things that's that's really a blessing for this winter. We decided to do one thing is stop terminations from a certain standpoint. We just totally feel that it's important that individuals are safe during the holidays and these winter months. We were downtown in Chicago yesterday, so I couldn't understand how anybody could be safe in that type of weather. And here's the same thing. So we really want to make sure that we're protecting all our clients and we're working with them closely. During that time, any clients that has back rent they have to pay, we'll be working with them in order to try to find ways to get it paid. So when that termination moratorium lifts, they can stay in our programs. But this is something that we just want to do to help the community because we know how it affects families and kids alike related to termination, especially at times like this. The Housing Authority also received some funds from one of our banks. And so we're providing utility assistance to families on our program that's past due. The notices is out there on our website. We have an application process along with transportation assistance in terms of bus passes. So be sure to go to our website or pass the information along. That's exciting. We don't have a whole lot of money, but if we can help one person, that's a great thing. However, we have enough money to help quite a bit of people. So I'm excited that we was able to partner with one of our local banks to make that come to fruition. Also, The mayor mentioned it earlier, and I'm just excited about our Youth Build grant. That's a grant from the Department of Labor. We applied for that grant last year when I first came to the Champaign County Housing Authority. And one of the main reasons that I really felt this community can benefit from that, at my last agency, I was a part of bringing the Youth Build grant, and it was totally successful in terms of preparing our young people for life in the future, along with partners within the community. And so we applied as a community, and we didn't receive it. And so we had a discussion with our grant writer, and we found out that she had made an error on another grant we applied for. And so she said, you know what, we'll do a Youth Build grant for free. So we got $1.5 million Youth Build grant that cost us $0. And that's just a total win for the whole community overall. And maybe it was something that we shouldn't have had to pay for it at the beginning that made us get it. But I'm just happy it's here, and we're looking at partnering with so many people in the community in order to help bring that to fruition to help our young people. Again, we have 4 months in order to totally get that grant implemented into the community, but we're excited about that. We received a number of grants this year, and that's been something that's exciting. Over this year time frame, we received VASH vouchers, which is a large check in the back from the Department of Housing and Urban Development that we received yesterday from the Midwest Regional Administrator. We received another allotment of mainstream vouchers, which is another large check in the back from our grant writer who wrote that grant. We received the Youth Build grant, which is $1.5 million. We received the Family Self-Sufficiency Coordinator grant, which was about $72,000. In all, we raised in terms of fundraising or received grants to further our programs and further the abilities for our staff to help our clients in our community here, over $2.2 million in 1 year. And that's outside of what we normally receive. And so I'm just excited that we have community partners that's willing to send support letters. I'm excited that we have staff members that pull together. When you get a grant notice sometimes, you have a week, sometimes 2 weeks to get it out. And we have an amazing grant writer we work with, and we have an amazing amount of staff members that help make that possible and come to fruition. I'm just so happy that we're able to bring that type of resource to this community and help so many people here also. We had a number of senior holiday parties, which was it was fun. We had a fashion show with some of our seniors. They really enjoyed it. We had our staff holiday meeting where the staff was able to hear some of the success stories that we've had over the year and which they may come to fruition and possible. And it's really great to share that information and share the wealth in terms of what we're able to do and how the people we're able to help. We've been approached by housing authorities to take over their voucher program. Ford's County voucher program, they have 50 vouchers. They have 24 people on their waiting list. And so they reached out and said, hey, we just can't do it. You guys can take it over. And how that works if those 24 people go through that 50 voucher list. If they get housed, they get housed. If not, all the rest of the vouchers come to us to utilize. And we just have to have some abilities to help individuals in the Ford County voucher program area. Now, one of the reasons that we do that is that in terms of HUD, the funding is limited. And it's not a whole lot of money to maintain your programs. And so a small program like that, well, only they have is 50 vouchers. It's hard for them to maintain that and manage that program. It's a lot of hard work to go into it. And I believe they probably have one staff person maybe to work with. And so I'm excited that not just banks, not just the Department of Labor, not just the federal government look at us as somewhere that they can reach out to help the community as a whole, but other housing authorities recognize what we've been able to do, and so they're reaching out to us to see what we can do in order to help them in certain ways. We did put a Housing Authority of Champaign County and Richmond Foundation board member application out, and there was some concerns related to that, and I just want to clear that up. And so we created that not-for-profit, the Richmond Foundation, so we can focus on our self-sufficiency, moving people forward along that spectrum, and also really focus on our young people. One of the things that HUD had done in the past, they disinvested in terms of giving us money. It was a drug elimination grant years ago. That grant went away a number of years ago, and so there's really no money set aside. And by Champaign County Housing Authority not really being a traditional housing authority with public housing units, we don't have those monies that come in for that. And so we sat down as a group and said, how can we make this possible? So we started our not-for-profit. Our attorneys worked with us on that purpose. Then we had our gala coming up. And it was no time to find a board a solid board, because that board right now is the Housing Authority board. But in terms of that foundation, we want a board that's going to go out and raise money for us and help us with our messaging. And our Housing Authority board does a great job, but that's not their complete role in some cases. And I'll be happy if all of you guys want to jump in and help us do that, because it's benefiting our young people. But so we created an advisory board, and I have a list of our advisory board members that I'll pass out to our board members. You know, we had Tremaine Jordan, who was at the Hickory Point Bank at the time. Rebecca was our board member. Lynn from the Department of Mental Health. James Barham, DeLitso from RPC, and Brandy Barnes from the university. So those were our advisory board members that help us make plans and activities for our young people along the way, and decisions around our gala. I think our not-for-profit came into fruition in August, maybe? Yeah, around August. And so we had 2 meetings this year so far, and August 28th we had a meeting, and September 24th we had a meeting. Since the gala we hadn't had a meeting as of yet. And also the question came about staff salaries. No staff members of the Housing Authority, nobody get paid for this. This is just an extension of what we do to try to benefit our community as a whole. For us, the finances related to it, most of the finances was created because of the gala, but you know, we've spent probably $49,000 of all monies out of our not-for-profit, and we have a list of all our foundation's expenditures here, and the monies that came into the foundation. And I know it was a few items about that the attorney wanted to mention also, but before you say that, I just want to say that part of that process, we auctioned off 2 homes, and we were sitting down figuring out what we can do. As Matt know, our budget is tight. People look at all this money coming in, but this money is earmarked for certain things, right? You know, the FSS money, $72,000, that's to pay for the salary and benefits of that person. Youth bill money is set aside just for the youth bill activities. And so we can't commingle that money and do anything we want with. We have to utilize that money for that purpose and make sure we report back. And so when I arrived here at Champaign County, I did a review of our plans and our goals as an organization, and wanted to look at what we can do. Before I got here, we wasn't applying for the grants. It was said that we wouldn't receive any federal grants, so we wasn't applying. We can receive them. We got some the first year, and we had $2.2 million worth of grants in year 2 almost of me being here. So back to homes, we had a number of homes that was set for demolition. They were part of our RAD program, meaning that HUD said, okay, demolish these houses. They're no longer part of your program. You don't want to maintain them. Some of them was in bad disarray and some of them wasn't. So the ones that was in pretty good condition, we put RFPs out. So those are the ones we use them for re-entry and other programs within the community. And then there was some that was in really bad condition that we said we can demolish them, but it was going to cost us at least $30,000 per home, and we still had to maintain that land. And so we looked at how we can maybe raise some money, repurpose these units that HUD already told us to get rid of. And so we said, well, let's use a couple of them for the auction. And I'm thankful that one of our landlords received those homes, and he's working toward reconfiguring them and putting them back in the affordable housing market. So instead of losing 2 homes in that way, we're putting 2 back, and the Housing Authority is saving over $60-something thousand plus dollars related to the demo process related to those homes. And so, you know, I know there are some concerns and people may not understand it, but again, I just want people to understand that what we're trying to do is, one, save as much money as possible and utilize that money to move our programs forward. And we want to bring in more affordable housing that we can in our community as a whole. And so, again, we have the Office of Constituent Services. You know, if you have questions and concerns as a community, please reach out to us, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. We'd rather answer those questions than rumors go out about what being utilized or what we're doing. We're free and open. You know, the answers may not come the same day, but we'll be sure to get them out to you. And that attorney had some comments related to some of the concerns that came about also.
Some of the questions that came up were, what's the legal relationship between the Housing Authority of Champaign County and the Enrichment Foundation? Under HUD's views, they call that an instrumentality. And what it is it's kind of an affiliate corporation of the Housing Authority of Champaign County. It's controlled, it's an instrumentality, which means it's controlled by the Housing Authority of Champaign County Board of Commissioners. And in fact, the initial board that was put in place when the entity was created is a mirrored board of this board. So, which is pretty much, that's pretty standard for when any not-for-profits are created. We've done that for years now here at the Housing Authority.
We have how many not-for-profits?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
For any of the development deals and things like that, you want to create an entity so that way it reduces the liability. So just to make sure it's clear, so everybody on this board is technically a member of the board of directors for the Enrichment Foundation. As Mr. Northern mentioned, David said that there's an advisory board as well, and those individuals are essentially put on by this board. There's a section in the bylaws that if somebody comes off of this board as a Housing Authority commissioner, they also come off of that board from the Enrichment Foundation. So there's that as well. Don't know what other questions I can answer that gives kind of a legal view in terms of how the board is managed. I shouldn't say managed, but in terms of who's in control of the board, and that is all of you as commissioners.
Also, sorry.
Can I ask a quick question?
So if the Enrichment Foundation's board, when it was created, mirrors this board, so it is all of us, when you have established the sort of continuing board for that foundation, does the relationship with this board change at all?
You mean
Are we still the directors?
the advisory board? Or
No. So it sounded to me like when you created the foundation as its own entity, that we are, as the Housing Authority board, and that's sort of a project of this organization.
Correct.
We as commissioners have a relationship
To that? Am I misunderstanding?
You are the actual directors.
Right.
In order, when we created it, it's a mirrored board essentially. So you're taking off one hat and you're putting on the other. Now I'm on the board of directors for the Enrichment Foundation. And going forward now, under the bylaws, you can add board members.
Okay.
In addition to that, you can remove board members, but also one of the aspects of it is that if you come off of this board on the Housing Authority, you're also going to be coming off of that board.
So for the new board members that you're recruiting, are those just add to the board in addition to us?
So, that'll be more like our advisory board. So those the board members that we'll meet with and talk about what activities, how can we raise money, how can we do different things. Just like, for example, I'm on the OSF Community Council,
Okay.
right? And so they recruited me in to kind of help them with some ideas and things, but they still have a hospital board.
Okay.
Right, and so we meet separately from the hospital board because some of the activities are different. Just like what Eric said about our not-for-profits. We have a lot of not-for-profits related to our development, and a lot of times we all create those not-for-profits to protect the resources of the main organization.
Okay, thank you for the
And
clarification.
I think what helps too with that is when you're talking about adding, whether you want to add more board members or whatever, the key though is you want to make sure that control of that organization, of the Enrichment Foundation, the control itself is still vested with the individuals sitting up here. Because there have been cases throughout the country where you've got housing authorities, they create a not-for-profit, and they lose control because they had, the majority of the board members are no longer associated with the housing authority. And what the intention was, housing authority and not-for-profit are supposed to be in lockstep. And suddenly the not-for-profit board decides we're going to go a different route. And they kind of run amok, if you will. And it's never a good situation.
Thank you.
And we haven't had a whole lot of activity. We created the youth ambassadors, and we've been working with on the young people, and we have our scholarship. I don't know if the scholarship is out yet online.
Supposed to launch January 1st.
Yeah, and January 1st. Right now we started the Richmond Foundation mainly to get through the gala, right? And so January 1st we're launching our scholarship opportunities for the young people that we serve in our community. Just want to make sure that people totally understand what's going on related to that.
I have a question, David.
Yes.
Will the financials activity for the foundation be audited just like everything
Yes.
else?
Every entity that we have is audited. I think we talked to the auditors the other day, and they was talking about auditing Oakwood Trace. I'm doing that audit and auditing some of our other not-for-profits. Everything gets audited. That's one of the reasons why our not-for-profit doesn't pay any staff, because it's our not-for-profit. So we get paid for our indirect services, I guess, in a sense, from our base salary. We don't make more for operating them, but it helps us further our mission as an organization to help the community.
And a question, so it's, I appreciate the clarification because I have not fully understood whether or not I, as a board member, was also a board member of the foundation. I read the bylaws and it was clear that if you're removed from the foundation board, you're removed from this, so I assume there was a legal relationship. The question I have is, it's actually for this 501c3 and all 501c3s we have, which is, do we, and if not, can we receive income and expense reports each month, just like we do with the housing authority expenses? Because my concern is, I had questions from the community about this foundation and its expenses, and I looked and I couldn't find any expenses reflected in our expense report. So I thought, well, it must be a separate foundation or I would be receiving this information. Now I've come to find out I'm serving on the board, which frankly makes me nervous because I'm legally responsible for the finances of this organization. So my question is, when and how does our board receive income and expense reports? And then my second question has to do with the bylaws say that this entity will meet in December each year. And so the question is, when is the annual meeting scheduled? You know, are we attending that meeting? What's the expectation there?
Let me answer the financial report. Now, a lot of the finances are in, and we have a report for it. It wasn't included. It was finished toward the end of November, and we're still having monies coming in from the gala. So, but we hadn't put that into the main report, but we plan on doing that. So that will come on a monthly basis, just like any other reports that we have. We had so little activity with that foundation. You know, all the activity is kind of just related to the gala. So we're still finalizing all of that. Again, like as I mentioned, we don't have separate staff that work just for that foundation. So, you know, there's been a lot going on related to it. So we're still getting money coming in. Today we had an auction close for some of the monies coming into the foundation. And, you know, so those all will be reported, all the finances and information will be reported in the January board meeting.
Okay. Also, like you said, if we're part of that board, me being on that board, I need to know what's being spent, how much money come in, what's going out, because like Daniel's saying, we're responsible for, if it's audit, what happened with the money, and we don't know what happened to the money we sit on the board. We need to know what's going on with everything on that board.
With regard to the annual meeting, that's after the first year of operations because it was formed in the fall. Okay. So every December we would be having a separate from this meeting. So once the Housing Authority of Champaign County board meeting ended, we would do something where it's okay, change the tape or do something like that, and then call the other meeting to order.
Is that a public meeting?
Technically, it's not required to be, but I think what we found in the past, we've typically had all for not-for-profits open just after the meetings and that kind of thing, so it's transparent. There's no issue with that.
Okay. And just, I forgot to ask one final question, which is with the house transfer, will the HACC board vote to convey these properties and the deed to the new owner? What is that, what's the next step with us making that transfer of properties?
That's a real estate issue, so I think we should talk about that in closed session until we get to that point. But the properties were deeded over to the not-for-profits because they were set for demolition, and I believe we already had that taken care of.
Deeded them to
the
nonprofits.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah. And so you know, with the purposes to follow the guidance of what we're doing. Again, all those homes that we had, like the reentry homes, the homes we were working with other individuals, and the homes that was used to help raise money were set for demolition. And so HUD had already approved about a year or so ago almost, all those homes being torn down. And so we had to come up with the money to tear them down. And, you know, in some cases we said, well, we'd rather save that $300,000+ to use it for something else. and allow others that may want to invest in those properties to invest in those properties. And we have had a number of community organizations step up to make proposals to invest in those properties so that we can not have to spend money but keep properties in the community to help our community overall.
So the land transfers don't come to the board?
They already have when the disposition, when HUD gave disposition approval or demolition approval and disposition, allowed this housing authority of Champaign County Board to transfer it to the not-for-profit. When those get transferred based on the raffle, that's going to come from the not-for-profit.
Oh, so at the time of disposition, they were transferred at that time to the nonprofit, and then essentially the nonprofit conveys them to these organizations, and aren't we the board members of the nonprofit? So wouldn't we convey them as board members to those organizations then?
Correct.
Okay, so those are future votes?
Exactly.
Okay.
Future votes, and also with a not-for-profit, it's a situation where a lot of times you don't have to, you can do it by affirmation. Like a lot of times you can sign off on the resolutions and that. You don't have to have a public board meeting necessarily for regular corporations, just municipal corporations.
Understood.
But I get where you're going with that, and I think that's an excellent idea. Make sure it's done publicly.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I agree with that.
So I hope, like I said before, I hope we cleared up some of the concerns related to that. If not, we have the Office of Constituent Service, so please reach out to us if you have some of those concerns. Last, a few other things that I want to mention related to the Executive Director or CEO report. We had an opportunity to speak at the Women United panel on emergency family shelter. It was a great opportunity to speak and share information. I was a guest lecturer at the UIUC School of Social Work. It was a great opportunity to work with a lot of young people that has goals to work in the community, to help others. It was a very nice experience. I felt like a professor that day, knowing I'm not that smart. I don't have a PhD. So also we participated in the Champaign Parade of Lights. It was a great opportunity. Tremaine left. So Tremaine drove in a parade and was able to represent the housing authority in that. And it was a great opportunity. Again, we just want to continually step up and be a part of this community overall and show our presence. We also participated in a Carl, Illinois Community Health and Wellness Fair. We had a number of team members that went and provided information about our programs and some of the services that we provide. I was able to speak at Thomas Paine Elementary School. We had in my fraternity, we have what we call a Salt on Literacy campaign. And so I went over there in my dual role as a fraternity member along with the Housing Authority Executive Director. And so I read to the students, but I also taught them about my position and what I do and what we do in an organization called the Housing Authority. We did attach to all the commissioners the current Housing Authority Board of Commissioners bylaws that we want to talk about having a study session so we can make the updates in 2020. And lastly, we submitted 2 more proposals of new developments to IDA with partners so we can create more affordable housing. We're waiting on IDA to see if IDA, the Illinois Housing Development Authority, we're waiting to see if they approve those projects, but it's exciting. IDA, we've been a favorite of IDA. On tomorrow, as I mentioned yesterday, we went down to HUD, our chairman and I, and we had the opportunity to meet the State Field Office Director for Public Housing. He's pretty new to that position. We met a lot of the individuals in the HUD office along with the regional administrator. We had a good opportunity to sit down and talk with him. And while we were that far in terms of outside of our community, we stopped over at the Gary Housing Authority and talked to their director and just talked about some of the things they're doing. So I think we took the opportunity to really benefit, building a relationship with HUD, but also learning and sharing a wealth with other housing authorities on yesterday. We have, tomorrow we're invited to go down to the Illinois Housing Development Authority Board because, as you well know, the Poundwood development came in over budget because so much construction going on right here now in the area. And so IDA, we reached out to IDA and we worked with them, and the $200,000 gap we had, they filled it for us. And so the final vote for that happens tomorrow, so they want us to be there, along with them having additional low-income housing tax credit allotments. And with the number of developments we have, they decide to give us more tax credits for our development, so we can, save some of the money that we originally thought we had to invest in, or the loans we had to take out for those properties. And so with IDA being that great of a partner in helping us in that major way, it would be a disappointment if we wouldn't show up for that meeting to accept that those great honors. So if there's no other questions related to the activities in terms of the executive director report, we can ask about the operational reports, the commissioners that they also receive. If you have any concerns related to those, we can call those particular department heads up for that. If not, that ends the report, sir.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Northern and his staff and team for continuing to excel in the areas that he just described to you. And I just know from spending a lot of time with him, the expectations he expects out of his team, and they are doing a fine job and continue to excel, so keep up the good work. Thank you, sir. Going to continue with our agenda, item 7, approval of financial reports.
I'm told to just present it, and if there's any questions, please let me know. So you have the information on the cash disbursements and the detailed checklisting and the budget to actual. So if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Any questions? If there's, we've had this report, so I'm assuming that there's no questions. So I have a motion to approve the financial item 1, November 19th cash disbursement and detailed check listing.
I'll make a motion to approve financial report number 1, the November 29th cash disbursements and detailed check listing.
It's been properly moved and second. May we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Adair?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Parks?
Yes.
Commissioner Rose?
Yes.
Commissioner Wachowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Turnbull?
Yes.
Commissioner Chenoweth?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 2, the November 19th budget to actual. Any questions? If there's no questions, we have a motion.
I move that we approve the November 2019 budget to actual financial report.
I second.
Been properly moved and second. May we have roll call for November 19th budget to actual?
Commissioner Adair?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Parks?
Yes.
Commissioner Rose?
Yes.
Commissioner Wachowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Turnbull?
Yes.
Commissioner Chenoweth?
Yes.
Before we go into the next item, I skipped it like I always do, moving fast. We didn't do our Employee of the Month, which is something that we always do to recognize our outstanding employee and their performance and what they brought to the Housing Authority. So I asked Tiffany to step up to present our Employee of the Month for this month.
Good afternoon. As Mr. Northern spoke about the Housing Authority's successes, we know that that would not be possible without our staff's hard work. So each month we acknowledge our Employee of the Month. The Employee of the Month for the month of November is Tita Taylor. Congratulations, Tita. So her coworkers wrote a whole bunch. And so Tita is described. She is the HCV specialist. She's actually the lead specialist for the HCV department. She handles the VASH vouchers, the mainstream, and the mod rehab. Tita is always willing to take on more work if she notices that her coworkers are overwhelmed. She has a special kind of spirit to be able to work with our clients the way she does. Over a year of working with Tita, I have never seen her without a smile, even on her not-so-good days. Tita also takes up her leadership role when the director is out of the office. She helps with annual recertification processing, and she does just a little bit of everything. I truly believe that she deserves to be the Employee of the Month. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Sid. Apologize, I forgot about that before time. Okay, item number 8, public comments on non-agenda items. You guys come up, your name and address. Oh, you comments in 5 minutes, please. Floor is open. Okay. Okay, it's time for item number 9, closed session, to discuss item A, discussion of hiring, firing, or continuing employment of a specific employee. We need a motion.
I'll move that we move into closed session to discuss item A, discussion of hiring, firing, or continuing employment of a specific employee with no action to be taken, I assume. No action to be taken, and adjournment to follow.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to go into closed session to discuss item A. Roll call.
Commissioner Adair?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Parks?
Yes.
Commissioner Rose?
Yes.
Commissioner Wachowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Turnbull?
Yes.
Commissioner Chenoweth?
Yes.